Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about under your kitchen sink. It is the one place that gets the dirtiest the most in your kitchen. People never clean it. You get clutter, you end up storing everything under there, including the kitchen sink, basically. So I'm going to show you my failed organization system that I have now. I went out and bought one of those two-tier systems that fit around your piping. Unfortunately, it did not work at all for me because I like to store a lot of stuff under my kitchen sink, and it just ended up getting cluttered and there was no space for anything. So I'm going to go back to the original system I had and show you guys how you can achieve that. So I want to talk about The Elephant in the Room, and that would be the new series on Netflix, Marie Kondo. I do really like that series. I read her book a couple years ago. The only thing that I don't really like about it is that I find that instead of it going through one portion of your house at a time, you're going through one item at a time or one group of items at a time. And I find that that just takes up more time. So my suggestion to you is, if you're going to start with me and you're going to do under your sink today, if you think that you're going to have things that don't end up belonging under your sink, get a Rubbermaid tote bin and keep that for as you kind of go along on your journey here. And do room from room and drawer to drawer with me. That way you can keep all of those items in one spot, and that's a designated area that's okay to pile everything in, and then we can kind of go through that in the end and see if it fits into any of the categories that you've done. And if not, and if you haven't used anything out of that bucket, then you can get rid of it. But you know, honestly, we're tidying up under our sink, and for most people, nothing under your sink brings you joy. So, you know, the cleaning supplies don't really bring most people joy. Cleaning rags don't really bring most people joy, but it is something that's needed. Pens, pencils, things of that nature, you know, those are all things that end up in your junk drawer or under your sink or whatever the case may be. And you still have to have those things on hand for the sometimes that you need them, but you need to have a designated area to keep them. So with all of that said, if you want to follow me along this journey, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Also comment down below and tell me what you would like to see me organize next, and I can help you along with that. But for right now, let's jump into under my sink.
Okay, so as you can see, this is under my sink. I have already removed everything that was in there and placed it on the counter. I'll show that to you in a second. But this is my failed organization system. This is one of the two-tier systems from Canadian Tire. I did purchase this for quite a bit of money. I think it was about $35, and it has just failed miserably. You'll see in a second how much I store under here, and it just made everything cluttered, and nothing was accessible. None of the bins fit. It really just ended up being an utter fail. So because it was so expensive, I am going to keep it, and I'll try to utilize it somewhere else in the home, just because I don't want to waste the money. But like I said, I think that there is some much better options out there, and what I found today was less than $20, and it worked a whole lot better than what this did. Okay, so as you guys can see, this is everything that I've taken out of my cupboard. I did have quite a bit under there. I actually found some bathroom stuff that's not supposed to be under my cupboard. So, I mean, things can get lost under there. So I'm going to start by taking this out and cleaning all underneath of it, because that's exactly what you want. You just want a clean slate under there to start with. So let's jump into that. guys, so this is all of the garbage that I have left after I have taken all of my bins and put all of my products in my bins. And we're going to jump into that next, and I will let you know how I organized everything.
I'm back. We have cleaned out the entire cupboard. Everything is out of there. I have showed you all of the garbage that I took out of there. So I'm going to show you everything that I put into the buckets. Again, the only things that I've used is less than $20. I bought it all from the Dollarama. I have the 2 large white buckets. I have 3 smaller bins, clear bins. I have 1 small tackle box. I have a bigger clear bin, and then I did end up using a clear, it's actually a can organizer, and I'll show you that in a few minutes where I used that, but it was something that I just had laying around that I wasn't using. So I have the tackle box, and then I have the wire shelf that I bought from the Dollarama as well. So let's go through the bins now, and I will show you everything that's in each one and how I utilize them, and then we'll put them in the cupboard and you can see how it looks in the end. I'm gonna start with stuff that's not actually inside of any of the bins or buckets that I purchased. So there is a few items that I'm not putting in there. One of them is the Clorox wipes, my Norwex dish detergent, a couple Norwex cloths, my sink liners, my green bin liners, and my dish mat that I use for drying my dishes that I don't put in the dishwasher. Okay, so these are the 2 bigger bins that I bought. So I'm going to show you how I categorize these. Again, each bucket was $2, which is a pretty good bargain considering how big they are. So the one thing that you want to watch out for when you're buying bins like this for your cabinets or any of your closets or anything like that is you really need to take a look to see the bottom of them. See how the top is wider than the bottom? So just make sure that whatever, like when you're looking at this, it looks pretty big on the top, but you really need to look at the bottom of it and see how much is going to fit in there. And then if you're measuring anything to see if your bins are going to fit, make sure you're measuring from the largest point, right? You don't want to end up, oh yeah, that'll fit, and then when you go to put them in, they don't. So in the first bucket, this is going to go in the very back of my cabinet there. This is all the cleaning products that I want to keep upstairs. Like I said before, I really like having everything readily available. So in here, I just have some floor rejuvenation stuff. I do have some iron out. We are on well, so we do get some iron stains sometimes, but I don't use that all the time. I have a CLR treatment for our septic system. I have some OxiClean, some more floor stuff. I have a full thing of ant bait here. And I have my jet dry that I don't use all the time, only when it needs to be filled up. So that's everything that's in that bucket. The only cleaning product that I don't keep in here is my bathroom cleaner. And the reason why I do that is because I actually like to keep it in my bathroom because I clean my bathroom so often. So you will never find bathroom cleaner under my sink. It's always in my bathrooms. Okay, for the second bin, this is what I would call my cleaning caddy. So everything in here is stuff that I use on the regular. So basically what I have is my microfiber cloths. They are just attached to the side of the bin with a little ring hook. I have about 6 or 7 of them because when I go to clean, I normally use at least that many, if not more. I have my microwave cleaner. I have my stovetop cleaner, some furniture polish, Pine Sol, my Method mop, my Method floor cleaner, Method anti-bac, some more Clorox wipes, and my Method mirror and glass cleaner. I do have a couple extra cloths here. These are Norwex cloths that I really like using, but you're not supposed to use them with any products other than Norwex, so that's why they're kind of hanging on the side here to remind myself and anybody else who ends up using it, which is unlikely, that they're not to be used with the actual cleaning products themselves. Then I just have some wool cleaners, the actual like woolly steel cleaners, and then a couple extra sponges, which I go through a lot of those as well. All of that stuff is just bought from the dollar store as well. If you're going to use products for cleaning, if you can buy them at the dollar store and get them for cheaper, then certainly do so. Just keep in mind that sometimes the sales at Walmart or the sales, at Canadian Tire, whatever the case may be, is going to end up being cheaper for you than actually buying them from the dollar store. Okay, so let's talk about the smaller bins that I have. So I did buy 3 of the smaller clear bins, and the thing that I really liked about them is that they stack really well. So they're not falling off of each other. They're perfectly proportioned to each other, and they, like I said, they stack really well. So the first thing that I used, and the reason I wanted to put it in a container is because if they get wet, they're ruined, and those are my dishwasher tablets. So the lids, I mean, obviously they're not airtight, but they snap on pretty easily. So all that's in there is dishwasher tablets. If you don't have a dishwasher, then obviously you don't need to use this bucket for that. But like I said, use what works for you. So that's what works for me, and that's what I'm going to do. The second thing that I have is another bin like that. And inside, I just have the Swiffer sheets. I don't actually use a Swiffer because I have my Dyson, but I will use these sheets for dusting. I find, you know, before you clean your bathroom or before you clean an area like your baseboards or on top of a cabinet or something, this really picks up the dust, I find, better than a microfiber cloth. So I'll go through with one of these first, pick up all the dust, and then I will wipe it down with whatever cleaning product that I'm using. And then I just have a couple extra magic erasers. We tend to go through a lot of those because my son likes to draw on everything with crayons. So we have some of those, so that'll go in the second bin. Okay, so the third bin that I have is just extras. So this is just extra disposable cloths, some extra disposable sponges, and some extra steel sponges there as well. So that one will probably go on the bottom because I don't need it and I don't use it that often because I do have some in my regular cleaning caddy. But again, they stack really well. So they're like, I'm really digging that, and it's not falling off. So me slamming the cupboard or the kids slamming the cupboard is not going to make these fall over. All right, what am I going to talk about next? I will talk about the tackle box that I purchased. So the tackle box that I purchased was because we always need batteries. We go through a lot of batteries, all the kids' toys, and stuff like that. As soon as something dies, you know, all of a sudden it's hysterics because your kid doesn't have batteries, or your husband's in hysterics because the remote died. Whatever the case may be, or whatever your situation is. So it's just a regular tackle box, and what I've done is I've put the batteries in there. So just every type of battery, AA, AAA, C, D. I have the batteries for my remote start and my key fob for my car, and then some 9-volt batteries. That way I always have them accessible. And again, because we go through so many, I wanted them accessible in the cupboard, and that's just a really easy way to store them. So that is the tackle box, and again, because it's so thin, it's really easily stored. All right, the last bin that I purchased was this one, and the reason I wanted a bigger one was because we have a lot of light bulbs. Now we did switch to all the LED bulbs, but we're still finding that as kind of time's going on, we're having lights kind of go out from when we purchased the house a few years ago. So we're kind of slowly switching them over and trying to use up the light bulbs that are in there, and then kind of slowly switch them over to these ones. So this is just a convenient spot to have them, because when the lights go out in the bathroom at 4:30 in the morning getting ready for work, it's not fun to have to go to the cold garage to find light bulbs. So that has happened, and they're going to stay under my sink for now. All right, we are down to the last 2 things that I have. So I have this wire shelf. These are super cheap. They're $2 at the dollar store. They are decent quality. I mean, they're not, you know, full steel by any means, but it works, right? And I'll show you what I'm going to do with that in a minute. And then the last thing that I reutilized was this. This is actually to hold cans for your fridge. So the black bag's at the back because we don't use them that often. The blue bags and the clear bags at the front because that is what is most used most often. So, and I'll show you where that's going to go in a second there. So like I said, all of this stuff that I purchased cost less than $20, and let's put it in the cabinet and I'll show you how it's going to go. Okay, so the first spot that I'm going to do is the wire shelf here, and I'm going to use this the most. This is going to be my most access stuff. So in this, what I'm going to keep is some Clorox wipes, my Norwex dish soap, this is my Norwex backlock rag. I'm going to keep that in there as well. And then just an extra dishcloth right there as well. So it's not overcrowded. You can still fit something else in there if you really wanted to, but that is the way that that has turned out. All right.
Okay, so I'm just going to start putting these things in. So the deal is with this wire shelf, what it does is just a really cheap way without permanently putting shelves in to really utilize that vertical space that you have in under your sink there. That's probably the most precious real estate that you have, so definitely utilize that. And like I said, they are only $2, so make sure that you measure first to make sure that they will fit in there. But if it does fit, then it's a perfect way for you to utilize that area. So I'm just going to continue to put the rest of the stuff in, and I'll show you what it looks like when we're done.
Do you want the light on?
Yeah.
It's pretty bright.
No, I don't want it on. I can still see it. Every time I blink, it's purple.
All right.
I want it on.
Well, it's on. Okay, so what do you guys think of the cabinet? What do you think, Dallas?
Organized.
It's organized. Do you guys think that it's easy enough for you to keep organized?
Yeah, no.
No.
Yeah.
And why is that? Because there's a lock on the cabinet and you're not allowed in there, right? Right. Why? Why aren't you allowed in there, Dallas?
Because this poison
That's right. How smart are you guys? Hey, can you guys say bye?